Number 12, exploding head syndrome. Imagine you're finally drifting off. You're in that perfect state of half consciousness, just on the edge of a good night's sleep. The world is quiet, your worries are fading, and then, without warning, a sonic boom goes off inside your head. It's not a dream, it's not your neighbor dropping something. It's a completely silent, totally internal, earth shattering bang that wakes you up in a panic. This bizarre and frankly terrifying phenomenon is called exploding head syndrome, and it's exactly as unfun as it sounds. Your body is basically playing a prank on your nervous system. The science behind it is still a bit murky, but the leading theory is that as your brain transitions from being awake to asleep, the neurons in the auditory part of your brain all fire at the same time instead of shutting down gracefully. Instead of a nice, gentle fade to black, your brain's volume knob gets turned to 11 for a split second, and you're treated to a private light show of loud bangs, clangs, or crashes that literally no one else can hear. It's a perfectly harmless glitch, but for the person experiencing it, it feels like a genuine, high decibel explosion just went off inside their skull, leaving them confused, disoriented, and maybe a little convinced they're losing their mind. Number 11, sleep paralysis. You wake up in the middle of the night, but you can't move, you can't speak, you can't even scream. Your mind is wide awake, but your body is still completely paralyzed, a state of total, locked-in helplessness. Welcome to the waking nightmare of sleep paralysis. What's happening here is a misfiring of your brain's natural sleep protection system. Normally, when you enter REM sleep, the part of your brain that controls voluntary muscles shuts off to prevent you from physically acting out your dreams. It's a safety feature, like a built-in parking brake for your body. But during sleep paralysis, you wake up before your brain has a chance to turn that parking brake off. So you're conscious, but you're still in that dream state paralysis. And because your brain is a brilliant but sometimes terrible storyteller, it often fills in the blanks of your helpless state with vivid, terrifying hallucinations. Your brain is thinking, why can't I move? Must be a shadowy figure standing over me. Oh, and they're sitting on my chest now. Nice. These visitors or intruders are a direct result of your brain's desperate attempt to make sense of the disconnect between your conscious mind and your sleeping body. It's basically your own subconscious mind trolling you with a horror movie in real time. Number 10, hypnic jerks. You're drifting off, just starting to fall asleep, and suddenly your whole body lurches. You feel like you're falling off a cliff, a building, or maybe just your bed, and you wake up with a jolt and a racing heart. This is a hypnic jerk, also known as a myoclonic jerk, and it's the physical equivalent of a whoopsie-daisy from your brain. This little spastic jolt happens as your muscles begin to relax in preparation for sleep. The leading theory is that as your body goes limp, your brain misinterprets the signal. It's used to receiving a constant stream of information from your muscles, so when that stream suddenly goes quiet, it panics for a fraction of a second. Your brain thinks, wait, are we falling? We must be falling. And it sends an emergency signal to your muscles to contract and brace for impact. It's basically your nervous system's very loud, very unnecessary panic button. The whole thing is a totally normal, harmless, but extremely annoying miscommunication between your brain and your body. It's a gentle reminder that your brain is still, for all its sophistication, prone to the occasional freakout. Number 9, sleepwalking. It's the quintessential comedy trope turned real-life medical mystery. Someone gets up, walks around the house, maybe makes a sandwich, and then returns to bed with no memory of their midnight jaunt. While it's funny in movies, it's a lot less so when your dad is sleepwalking out of the house in his pajamas. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is a fascinating peek into the weird workings of the unconscious mind. It happens during the deepest stage of non-REM sleep, the part of the cycle where your brain activity is at its slowest. The parts of your brain that control movement are active, but the parts that are responsible for logic, memory, and consciousness are completely asleep. So you're essentially operating on a kind of biological autopilot. You can navigate around familiar obstacles and sometimes even perform complex tasks, all while your conscious mind is completely checked out. The kicker? Sleepwalkers are notoriously hard to wake up because you're trying to pull their brain from its deepest state. It's like trying to get a computer to reboot by tapping on the screen. The best advice is to gently guide them back to bed. The alternative of trying to wake them is not only hard, but can be disorienting and upsetting for the sleepwalker. You're basically dealing with a fully functional human being who is mentally on a different planet. Number 8, sleep talking. You're fast asleep, and suddenly you start having a full on conversation with yourself, or more likely, with a bewildered partner. Sleep talking, or somniloquy, is another perfectly normal but often embarrassing side effect of your brain's night shift. It can range from a few mumbled, incoherent words to full on, grammatically correct sentences. The best part? You have no idea you're doing it. Sleep talking can happen during any stage of sleep, but it's most common during the lighter stages when your brain is still partially active. Scientists think it's related to the brain activity associated with talking while awake. Essentially, your brain's speech center is still firing, but the part that makes sense of what's happening and processes your surroundings is snoozing. You might be acting out a dream, reliving a conversation, or just blurting out whatever weird, nonsensical thought is currently bouncing around in your unconscious mind. It's like a live feed of your brain's weird, unedited thoughts, and it's a great way to find out what you're really thinking, or just that you're worried about a dog with a top hat. Number 7, the sleeper's grind. If you've ever woken up with a sore jaw or a headache, you might be one of the millions of people who involuntarily grind their teeth at night. This habit, known as bruxism, can be surprisingly damaging to your teeth and jaw. It's essentially a stress response from your body. When you're awake, you might clench your jaw when you're stressed, but when you're asleep, your subconscious takes over and really gets into it. The grinding can be loud enough to wake up your partner, and the pressure on your teeth can be up to 250 pounds per square inch. This is your body's bizarre way of handling daily stress. Instead of dealing with it head on, your brain decides to literally chew it out while you're unconscious. It's your body's way of telling you that you're probably too stressed or that your jaw is just having a real bad time. Number 6, rhythmic movement disorder. You see a baby bouncing their head against their crib or someone rocking back and forth in their sleep, and you might think it's just a strange habit. But this behavior is a legitimate sleep disorder called rhythmic movement disorder. It's exactly what it sounds like, a series of repetitive, rhythmic movements that a person performs just before falling asleep or even during their sleep. Most commonly, it's seen in young children who might rock their bodies, bang their heads, or even roll back and forth in their beds. It's also known as head banging or body rocking. The science behind it is still a bit murky, but the general theory is that these rhythmic movements are self-soothing behaviors. It's like the brain's version of a lullaby. The motion can feel comforting, and it helps the person fall asleep. While it's most common in children and usually disappears with age, it can persist into adulthood, a strange, subconscious habit that your brain just can't kick. It's a testament to the fact that even when your conscious mind is completely gone for the night, your body is still looking for ways to feel safe. Number 5, getting a brain shock. Sometimes as you're falling asleep, or even just sitting quietly, you might feel a sudden internal electrical zap or jolt. It feels like someone just shocked your brain with a tiny taser. This phenomenon is called a hypnagogic jolt, and it's a cousin of the hypnic jerk. But instead of a full-body lurch, this is an isolated internal sensation. It's not painful, but it's incredibly bizarre and disorienting. The feeling can be a flash of light, a buzz, or that signature electrical zap. It happens during the transition from wakefulness to sleep, and it's a bit of a mystery. One theory is that it's a harmless misfire of your nervous system as it shifts gears. Your brain is a complex web of electrical signals, and when it's trying to power down for the night, sometimes a stray spark flies off and gives you a little mental static. It's your brain's way of saying, "Just kidding, I'm not asleep yet," before finally shutting off for the night. Number 4, sleep eating. You wake up in the morning, and the kitchen is a disaster. There's a half-eaten sandwich on the counter, a milk carton on the floor, and a trail of cookie crumbs leading back to your bedroom. But you have no memory of any of it. Welcome to the world of nocturnal eating, or sleep-related eating disorder. It's exactly what it sounds like, A person gets up in their sleep, heads to the kitchen, and starts eating, all while being completely unconscious. Unlike a simple late night snack run, sleep eaters have no memory of their midnight buffet. The food choices can be bizarre, too. People have been known to eat raw flour, uncooked bacon, or even pet food. The behavior is a mix of sleepwalking and an eating disorder, but the person is not consciously hungry. It's another strange case of the body operating on autopilot while the conscious mind is offline. It's like your brain is running a background process that just so happens to involve binge eating a bag of chips and then hiding the evidence. Number 3, Tetris effect. Have you ever played a video game for hours on end, only to close your eyes and see the shape still falling? Or worked on a complex spreadsheet all day and then watched the numbers float behind your eyelids? This is the Tetris effect, and it's a fascinating look at how your brain processes repetition. When you spend a significant amount of time on a repetitive or visually intense task, your brain continues to process those patterns long after you've stopped. It's not just video games, either. It can happen with anything from climbing a mountain to sailing a boat. Your brain is trying to make sense of the new, intense information, and it keeps running the simulation even when you're trying to sleep. It's your brain's way of saying, I am so preoccupied with this one specific thing, I will continue to process it in my dreams and possibly my eyelids forever and ever. It's a completely harmless but bizarre peek into how your brain categorizes and files away new complex tasks, and it's a great example of how you can accidentally give yourself homework while you sleep. Number 2, lucid dreaming. What if you could take control of your dreams? To fly, to talk to a historical figure, or to simply make the monsters disappear? This is lucid dreaming, the state where you are fully aware that you are dreaming while the dream is still happening. It's a fascinating and empowering experience, but it's also one of the weirdest things your brain does at night. A lucid dream is a beautiful paradox. Your conscious mind is awake, but your body and your subconscious mind are still asleep. It's a bit like getting the keys to your brain's subconscious engine. When you become lucid, you can decide to manipulate the dream, change the scenery, and even have conversations with the characters inside it. Some people learn how to do it with practice, but for others, it just happens spontaneously. The sensation is often described as feeling more real than reality itself. It's your brain's weird way of giving you a backstage pass to your own subconscious, where you can finally decide to either run from the monster or tell it to go to therapy. Number 1, the out-of-body sensation. You're lying in bed, and suddenly you feel like you're floating above your own body. You can see yourself from above, a perspective completely detached from your physical form. This can be a terrifying or a peaceful experience, but it's one of the weirdest and most misunderstood phenomena that happens during sleep. This out-of-body sensation, or astral projection, is often dismissed as a spiritual or paranormal event, but it's a completely natural, scientific occurrence. It's a harmless glitch in your brain. Specifically, it's a disconnect between the two parts of your brain that process sensory information. Your brain has a part that is responsible for creating a map of your body and another that processes sensory information. When you're in a deep state of relaxation, like on the verge of sleep, these two parts can sometimes fall out of sync. Your body's physical sensations are no longer in line with your brain's internal map of where your body should be. This sensory confusion makes your brain think you're in a completely different place. And since you're at rest, that different place is usually right above yourself. It's not your soul leaving your body. It's just your brain miscalculating your location. Basically, your nervous system is throwing a tantrum in your honor, and the result is a full-on existential crisis.